Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our virtual culture exchange between Morocco and Gibraltar. This event is organized jointly by the Gibraltar-Morocco Business Association and Straits of Gibraltar Association, of which Mr. Brahim Krikaz is president. I am Henry Sacramento, your host this evening, transmitting live from the Casbah in Tangier. Today, we feature the first Moroccan-born officer to join the Royal Gibraltar Police. Before I introduce him, let us see some footage of his life journey so far. Well, let us remind our viewers that they are welcome to send us questions or even a hello letting us know where you're joining us from this evening. Let me introduce our guest. He was born in Tetuan, arrived in Gibraltar aged 13, only speaking French and Arabic. His 3 years of schooling were difficult as he had no English or Spanish knowledge. He went on to join the training center, but he knew that he could aspire to do much better and find a job where he could help others. Aged 21, he left the GibDocs and joined the Gibraltar College and got 9 GCSEs and 3 A-levels. Wow, quite an achievement. His idea of going to university was swayed by a recruitment campaign by the Royal Gibraltar Police, wanting to have an organization that truly represented the local community. Good evening, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, Detective Constable Mojib Benhakim.
Thank you very much, Henry. Hello to my Gibraltarian friends, and Assalamu alaikum to my Moroccan friends as well.
What a pleasure and an honor it is to have you with us. Mojib, share with us why the Royal Gibraltar Police?
I've always had an interest in employment where I'm helping people rather than, just being a normal day-to-day job where you're just doing something to earn money. So it's something that fulfills you, when you help someone. So the RGP was sort of the best type of employment in all like my categories where I wanted to.
It ticked all the right boxes for you.
Yeah, basically, it ticked all the boxes. where the variety of work it entails, and the challenges it gives you. But we'll discuss that later.
No 2 days are the same.
No, they're not, and obviously you know.
Tell us, how difficult or easy was recruit school for you? Because obviously, English was not your first language. You arrived in Gibraltar with only speaking French and Arabic. You did very well because by the time you were 21, you went to the College of Further Education and obtained 9 GCSEs in English language and 3 A levels. I mean, no mean task. You know, congratulations, chapeau to you. But having been through recruit school myself, and even having done GCSEs myself, I know how difficult it is to have to learn so much in such little time. How did you cope with that? How was that? How was that experience with you?
It was, to put it in simpler terms, it was a big sacrifice. It's not easy. There's a lot of work that I had to do from my part. It wasn't just attending school, but if you have a dream and you want to chase it, you know, you have to put the effort in and work for it.
Absolutely.
Nothing ever comes to anyone, you know, without hard work. So yeah, that's but with regards to you asked me about the recruiting school, right?
Mm.
Yes, that was very, very difficult. Nothing that I've experienced before, because every week you had an exam and you had to
Yep.
pass that exam. If you failed the first one, you would go into the office and obviously you'd get a warning. If you failed your second one, you're out. That's it.
Yep.
It was a very, very intensive course. And I think the whole idea as well for the exams is to prepare you for the outside world as well.
For the pressure that you have to deal with once you become a fully fledged officer.
Yeah.
Mojib, I have to say this again in case some of our listeners have just joined us. You are the first Moroccan born officer to join the RGP, because at the same time as you joined, there was another officer from Moroccan parents, but he was born in Gibraltar.
Yeah.
That must be such a landmark and such a so you must be so proud of to have been. You say you made history with the Royal Gibraltar Police.
Yeah.
How has that in any way helped or hindered your schooling to start off with, and how has that also um, paved the way for you in your job?
When I joined the police, it wasn't known that, you know, people of my descent, or at least people not just Moroccan born, or not just people who are, you know, immigrated from Morocco, but also Moroccan born, didn't actually. It wasn't known that they joined government positions or anything like that. It was once I went in, it was a big boost for the community as a whole. And we were starting. It was at the time when there were lots of Moroccans that were starting to apply for their citizenships. So it was a massive
Transition.
for the whole of the Moroccan community in Gibraltar. So the community were very, very proud of me. Had a lot
And
of
I'm sure they continue to be, because you're doing sterling work.
yeah, thank you. Until this date, I still get stopped and I get praised for what I do for the community as a whole. And yeah, even Gibraltarians are proud, like yourself as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there we have Elias Tribak saying bon courage. Shukran, Elias. Stephen saying, Marine from Gibraltar saying welcome. Kylie Garcia saying welcome. So I'm sure we have a lot of people. Oh, Brahim Krikasi saying, hi guys, it's such a great pleasure to have Mr. Mojib as guest for our 8th cultural exchange between Gibraltar and Morocco. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Krikas. Thank you for your kind comments. We have, there's somebody you may recognize, Mojib. We have Anthony Joaquin saying, hello, Sensi Mojib. I'm very proud of you, my student, my friend and son, whom I've always been honored to share, help, advise you from day one since we met many, many, many years ago. And we're going to be talking about later on. Thank you very much, Tony,
Thank
Anthony. Mojib, what departments have you worked within the RGP so far?
So I started in neighborhood policing, and the whole idea of neighborhood policing was to interact with the public, speak to them, get to know what their problems were, and find a solution. I did 2 years in that department.
Can I just clarify for those that are listening that may not be familiar with the word neighborhood policing? This is what used to be known prior to neighborhood policing as community policing, the community constables.
Then after that, I joined Shift. It was an organizational change, a big one, because of different circumstances, things that we were getting. We had to reprioritize, and obviously MPT was reduced, and obviously few of us had to go to Shift work. I did 2 years in Shift. Then after that,
how did
I
you
joined,
find shift work as opposed to having done neighborhood policing first? How did
with
you
with
did you
Shift.
prefer it?
You were more reactive in
Yep.
Shift. You didn't have a lot of opportunities to be proactive. Whilst in neighborhood policing, you were more proactive. You actually went and searched for work to do. You spoke to the public, and both in both aspects of the department is good. I mean, there was nothing bad about Shift, nothing bad about neighborhood policing. They were all good. I enjoyed my time
It's
on both.
just a different experience.
Just a different experience where with one you are proactive, with the other one you are reactive. You're dealing with emergencies. So it was good. All of them have different variety of work, so it was good.
Oh, and we have Priscilla joining us saying, so interesting to hear about your successful studies. Thank you very much, Priscilla.
Thank you
Wow.
for saying.
And Rashida Esadreki, we say, so proud of you, my son.
She's my mom.
Oh, Imma, shukran, Imma, shukran. Well, can't beat the love of a mother, can you?
No.
How nice of her to join us. Mojib, you are also a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Tell us about that.
Yes. Do you want me to finish the other
Yes,
department?
yes, please.
Basically, I've done also 4 years in the PMB. That was amazing. That was a
And
good time.
for people that don't know what PMB means, it means the Marine Section. It means the Police Patrol Boat.
Apologies for my.
No, carry on.
Yeah, I'm so used to. That was
Police
amazing.
jargon.
Police jargon, yeah, that was amazing place to work. I've had such a fantastic time there. We chased ribs full of drugs. We did amazing rescues. I mean, to know that you've saved someone's life who was gonna be 100% dead if you didn't get to them on time.
And
Fantastic.
risking your own life at the same time.
And risking your life. It's a very risky job. I've had some situations where, it was close, and you went home thinking, "Oof, I hope I don't have to go through that again." And yeah, it's all good. And now I'm in crime and protective services, so I've had quite a variety of work within the RGP with regards to jiu-jitsu.
Well, sorry, can I just stop you there? How many years have you actually been an officer now?
In July, I will have completed 9 years.
9 years, okay.
Yeah.
So expand a little bit about the department that you're doing now. What does it actually entail? What is the day-to-day there in that department?
All right. So I'm in crime. I'm basically in public protection unit, and within the domestic and abuse department.
Right.
So we do the domestic abuse and the victim support. I'm part of the victim support, but as you know, in the RGP, we do everything. So
we multitask.
We multitask. Whenever there's a job that comes in, whether it's safeguarding to get children out of a bad situation, or help get an abusive person out of partner out of the environment of the victim. So my work varies, and what my specific job is, we call the victims after 24-hour when they reported the incident. So we would call them 24 hours after, and we would make sure they're okay. And then we would call 7 days after. We would update them with how the investigation is going on, and we keep that engagement throughout the process of the investigation. But as I said, apart from that, we also deal with
everything else that comes along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sterling work that you do, and must be so comforting to the victims to know that there is somebody at the end of the line that really cares and is taking an interest in their well-being and their welfare. Oh, we have Kevin Salsa joining us. Great achievements, Mr. Mojib. Thank you very much, Kevin. Very kind of you. We have Pep Winwood saying, very proud of you, always welcome. Thank you, Pep. Thank you. Okay, would you like to tell us about your jiu-jitsu and how did you obtain your black belt? And of course, you've also been to Morocco with your jiu-jitsu. Tell us about that.
In 2003, I joined the Bushido Gibraltar Jiu-Jitsu Academy by jumpers. And my teacher, my sensei, is Anthony Joaquin. My journey to getting my black belt was a long one, because I didn't prioritize the belt. I was more focused on techniques and learning. But something important about what I've done in Jiu-Jitsu is that in 2007, me and Anthony, we were approached by a gentleman. We know him as Pancho. He's a Moroccan gentleman that said this doesn't exist in Morocco, and he's basically linked us to a teacher there. His name is Wahabi, and since then on, we started going every day, every month to Morocco to teach this gentleman. Jiu-Jitsu there wasn't any presence of Jiu-Jitsu in Morocco, so it was me and Tony that introduced it.
Wow!
At least in the northern parts that we know, we took Jiu-Jitsu up to Fes, and then eventually, as the years passed on, we sort of went to Rabat, Marrakesh, Casablanca. We've done all of Morocco. We have a lot of money. It's incredible what we've achieved in Morocco.
Congratulations. I mean, I had no idea that you'd done so much. I thought you'd just done Tetuan, Tangier.
No, we've gone deep. In fact, I think it was 2018 that they finally created an association with their southern counterparts. There was after our presence was initially there first. Later on, obviously, other people did the same thing, but they were more concentrated on the south. But the whole of the North African region, in terms of Morocco, all of them know our jiu-jitsu, our way of teaching, and they know Sensei Mojib, Sensei Tony, wherever we go. It's unbelievable.
Fantastic.
I can have a phone call and I say, look, I'm coming to Fes, and there's someone in Fes I can go to. It's unbelievable.
Fantastic. We have Stephen Murray saying the RGP are doing a great job all round, but the inclusion policy as of late, and you, Mojib, is a testament of inclusion and equality opportunities, be it race, creed, or gender. Thank you for your comment, Stephen. And we have El Hamadushi Hamza says, Hamza from Tetuan, it's a pleasure being here with you in this virtual meeting and listening to Mr. Mojib. Wonderful, inspiring experience. Thanks for your efforts you're doing to bring the two cultures together. Thank you very much. Mujib, what has been the most challenging thing you have had to deal with up to date?
The only one thing, I mean, when in the RGP, there's so many things that you get challenged with. Every job has its own specific, unique problems, and you need to solve them. And you know this. You've had a lot of years in the police force as well.
38.
Yeah, 38. My God, that's a lot of years. Not one job is is the same. Every job is unique. So, in terms of let's say a highlight that I can pick and say this one, there isn't one. I think everyone was challenging in its own way, and you had to find a solution to it, to the problems that people were facing. But there is one thing that in my mind that crosses my mind, and that was when one of my colleagues was going through mental issues, and I feel sad that I didn't identify it. And I only didn't identify it because I was going through my own problems,
Issues.
Issues, health issues, and I feel bad about it till this day, But the good thing is that officer I'm thinking about is in a good place now, and but yeah, as a police officer, we see some horrible things, we do some horrible jobs that members of the public, don't get to see, who never hear
Have
about.
no idea about,
No idea, yeah. And look, we're happy to take that sort of sacrifice on our shoulders and just carry on for the better of the community.
So tell me, Mojib, if you have to identify one of your best highlights, one of the most positive things that you've come across in the RGP, whether dealing with the public or the most rewarding situation so far.
It's the same answer for to be honest. Look, I've gone into burning buildings, couldn't see anything, had to crawl down and to check that because a member of the public said, "Oh my God, there's someone in that house," and you could see smoke. I would go in, don't think about it. You know how we're rushing sometimes.
Yeah, the adrenaline is pumping out your ears, and you don't think, you just react. Yeah.
Incredible. I've been at sea where you can see no lights. The waves are 5 meter high. I swear, I've been in some occasions where I was like, if just one wrong move and I'm done for. We are all done for. Our whole crew members are gone, and lucky we are. Sometimes we're lucky.
Well, that is where the training comes into effect, where you've been trained to act in a certain way, and the automatic pilot just takes over.
Yeah,
in situations like that.
There's been a lot of highlights. I've taken some really horrible people out of
circulation.
Yeah, basically domestic abuse. Help the victim get out of the house. It's when dealing with domestic abuse, it's a difficult situation because a lot of the times you have the coercion, the financial abuse, there's a lot of aspects about it, and I can say that there's a lot of people in Gibraltar that appreciate what I've done for them.
Absolutely. We have Nadia joining us from Rabat, and she says, "I'm glad to see a Moroccan policeman as part of Gibraltar Royal Police. Mr. Mojib is there any Islamophobia in Gibraltar? And if it's happened, how you will deal with it as a policeman? Interesting
Within
question.
within the RGP, I have never experienced anything with my colleagues. In fact, the way they react sometimes when they hear someone say anything, it's crazy. Even I wouldn't react that way, you know. So they support me 100%. In terms of Islamophobia within the public space, it's very, very isolated incidents. I can count it with one hand in the last 9 years. And to be honest, that's a good thing. That shows how multicultural, diverse, and inclusive the whole of the community is.
Yeah.
Not just the Moroccans, you know. I think in Gibraltar is a very unique place, so we don't get a lot of that, you know, those things that you see in TV in Europe happening.
I
We are
think
lucky.
we're truly blessed to live in a community where within meters you have the mosque,
Yeah,
Jewish synagogue, Holy Trinity Cathedral, and Roman Catholic Cathedral, all within meters of each other.
yeah.
And everyone is allowed to practice their religious belief without anybody interfering or causing any untoward behavior. I think we're truly, truly blessed. And I think Gibraltar can count themselves as one of the luckiest places on earth for that situation. We have
So
Mr. Abdelhani Kokush joining us saying, well done, Mojib. Congratulations and blessings. Tell us how.
With regards to Gibraltar, there is a real sense of respect for one another, and that's the difference between other places. People in Gibraltar have lived with Moroccans, so they understand us. They know what Islam is. They know what a Moroccan is. They know our culture. We know their culture. We know what a Jewish religion is. What their cultures are. So we respect one another. You know, there is no misunderstanding. There is no ignorance of who we are. So there's no misconceptions, and I think that's the reason this pot of you know, everyone respecting each other, everyone loving each other. It is amazing. It is a special place in the world. It's Henry.
It really is. Tell us how many Muslim officers and members of staff does the RGP have now?
It has 7 police officers and one staff member who's also she works in the police, but she's not a police officer.
Right, a member of civilian staff.
Yeah, she has a supporting role. And yeah.
Actually, my next question was going to be, but I think it's already been answered. Have you experienced any racism from your colleagues or members of the public? And
No, honestly, like I said, it's a very unique place. There's, like I said, there's been isolated incidents. I would say no more than one hand, and that's because it was more of a reactionary. You know, people don't want to be arrested. You know, you take them in, they want to get back at you, and that's
using whatever means they
yeah.
can.
Yeah. Well, we are talking about the worst of the worst. We're not talking about.
We have Rihanna Ann joining us, and she says, a true inspiration, Detective Mojib. Thank you for all that you do for our community here in Gibraltar and abroad. Thank you very much for your kind comment. And we have Alan Barton. Well done, Mojib and Hakim. So proud of you. Another colleague, RGP officer.
Alan.
Thank you, Alan. Oh, and Anne Maria Morro from Gibraltar. Loving the interview. Well done, Henry, for interviewing Mojib, and very interesting to hear his story. Thank you very much, Anna Maria. Anna Maria, that with her husband, they had the Sequence Dance Club, which, thanks to the lifting of the restrictions, they've now been able to go back to the central hall and continue with their dancing. Thank you very much, Ana Maria. We are currently in the holy month of Ramadan. For those of you that are not familiar with Ramadan, in the Islamic faith, no food and nothing can pass your lips between sunrise and sunset. I'm currently doing Ramadan because I'm here in Tangier, and out of respect for the young man that works for us. How difficult or easy is doing Ramadan as an RGP officer, Mojib?
It's no more, no less than what a police officer in Morocco would have to endure, you know. But we are fortunate in Gibraltar because our colleagues look after us, to be honest. Whenever the month of Ramadan gets close, they say, "You in Ramadan, I don't want you in the streets. I want you, you know, either as a controller or as a work in the custody." So they look after us. They keep us away. Obviously, if there's an emergency, we are the first ones to go out and attend. But yeah, we are very grateful to our colleagues.
But it's taken into consideration, and you're almost looked after and protected in a way.
Yeah, well, look, in the end, who wouldn't want to look after their well-being of their officers? You know, I think we, as a not just me, but all officers of Moroccan origin in Gibraltar are real assets to the RGP. We do represent the community as an organization, because you have Moroccan officers, you have of all sorts, which is how it should be. So we work hard for that sort of respect, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it has to be said that the Royal Gibraltar Police as an organization was the first organization to appoint a full-time welfare officer. And after the RGP did that, other departments followed, because I was the welfare officer for 9 years. And in those years, the City Fire Brigade had a welfare officer, HM Prison had a welfare officer, HM Customs has a welfare officer, and all as a result of the then Commissioner Louis Wink, who's now retired, implemented a full-time welfare officer for the RGP. So welfare and well-being is something that has been very much at the forefront in the RGP for a very long time now. So, you know, without wanting to blow our own trumpets, but credit where credit is due, Mojib.
I think a lot of organizations, police organizations in the UK as well, are following our footsteps in terms of well-being. Superintendent Tunbridge, as you know him, he's done a lot of work with regards to well-being, and he really changed the organization in terms of how officers are, how, you know, they are taking well-being and mental health more seriously than before.
Absolutely.
Not that before they didn't. It's just there wasn't the awareness that there is right now, and I think there's approximately 20 officers that are well-being champion that are doing the exact same sort of job that he used to do. So it's incredible how it's expanded.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Oh, we have Omar from Mujda, Morocco, and he says, does your Arabic help you to be policeman in Gibraltar, especially when it comes to Arabic-speaking community problems and crimes?
Yes, it helps a lot. I'm always being pulled from my office to either translate or, you know,
interpret.
But it's good. Interpret everything, but it's good because you know, me as having this language, this assets. You know, before they had a lot of problems trying to get translators, and then even the translators sometimes they don't understand the police jargon. Whilst me being a police officer, it's a lot more easier to explain their rights, tell them, you know, what the law is, and then they can understand it. So it's good. It's good.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. how to go about doing things. And
Actually, Mojib, I remember many years ago calling upon your father to come and interpret on one occasion.
but it's for someone from the outside to just come in and and translate. It would be difficult for them to understand
Mm.
legal jargon.
Yeah, and
But
all
yeah,
the laws and sections and sorry, can I just say the introductory video is very interesting because one of the photographs that you're there with your father, you are actually attending the inauguration of the mosque at the lighthouse.
yes,
And I happened to have been on duty that weekend when the mosque was inaugurated so many years ago.
unbelievable. I didn't know you were, but it's incredible that you were part of that as well.
In fact, there was a whole team of us, and the whole security operation was undertaken by Chief Inspector Ivo Lopez at the time, who's now retired. Then his son, Edgar, also a police officer at the it's amazing because I saw that photograph and I thought, wow, what a weekend it was. I mean, the organization was absolutely amazing. I mean, the
I was
amount of
shocked.
people that came into Gibraltar from Saudi Arabia
Yeah,
just for the event was incredible. I mean,
yeah,
Gibraltar has never seen anything like it. I mean, the black Mercedes, the limousines, the red. It was almost like, you know, Oscar night at Hollywood, with the red carpet and so many VIPs. It was quite a spectacular
yeah.
historical event for Gibraltar.
I remember going in. They had after the inauguration, we had the prayer, and then they took us to have lunch. As soon
That's
as I
right.
went into those tents, oh my God, I could not believe what I was seeing. That
Yeah.
was something I'd never seen in my life before.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
if I can add, I because we were there for the whole security, the caterers came in from Spain, and the word harira springs to mind now that we're doing Ramadan. There were like, I mean, I've never ever seen such large containers. They were almost like drums, you know, uh, full of harira to feed so many people. I mean, there was hundreds of people there,
Yeah, it
and
was
the whole organization was flawless, from every aspect. But of course, the RGP had a large part to play over that weekend.
yeah. I was still young then. I remember a few days after that. In fact, a few weeks I think after that, I had joined. We were the school we were doing. What was it called again? Work experience.
Yep.
And in fact, my work experience was done within the RGP.
Wow.
Yeah, and I never thought that I would end up obviously joining the RGP because
Mm.
at the time I had a visa. It's crazy how much we've progressed.
It's fantastic. I think it's really fantastic. Um, let me take you. Oh, we have Zakaria Kobrit, and he says, from Tangier, I want to salute all the Gibraltarians. May God save your beautiful city. Mojib is a real inspirational example for all the Moroccan community in Gibraltar. Happy Ramadan. Happy Ramadan to you too, Zakaria. Thank you very much. And we have Ross Fothergill says, well done, Mojib, all the best.
Thank you, Ross.
I,
He's
I
actually
want to,
a friend of mine.
oh, excellent.
Yeah, we
There
went
you
to
there,
school together.
there you go. You have quite a following, Mojib. Um, Question I meant to ask you. Recently I saw a repeat program on GBC,
Yeah.
um, on a visit that you went to a concentration camp many years ago. Uh, how did the trip change you in any way? Share that experience with us.
Um, I've always been an open-minded person when it comes to anything in life in general. But that trip had an impact, a massive impact. And if I were to share like one thing that I learned from that experience is that wherever, and this is an advice I give to anyone, whenever you see anyone, being hateful towards someone's color or religion or his sexual orientation, it doesn't matter what type of hate it is, if we have to tackle it. We cannot let hate go unanswered, unchallenged. Because what happened in there, it could happen anywhere, and it's still happening in other places. And I had a professor with me that was his name was Gary, and what he was telling me is a lot of these things started with simple, people showing their opinions about their hate for the Jews. And that the Jews were taking had all the wealth and they didn't have anything. That's how it was portrayed, and it quickly escalated to something that no one, even the Germans, didn't imagine that something like that
Would
was
happen,
going.
yes.
Yeah, so it's very, very important that if any one of you experiences any hate, you report it. You don't leave it. Because if you leave it, then it gives them the idea that they could do it anywhere, and that becomes, it becomes more. It becomes into a political ideology.
Escalates.
It escalates, yeah. So very important that we treat hate like a disease, like COVID. If you leave it, it festers. But if you tackle it and you challenge it, even if you say, listen, what you're saying is wrong, okay, it shows that he's on his own there. He's not like the person he's directing that hate is not on his own. So bear that in mind, and because once you look at the history, you can see things re-emerging. But hopefully our society, our Gibraltarian community, will never fall foul to ideology like that. I think we have a very mature community where everyone respects each other. We have something that no one has, but it's at the same time we cannot be
Complacent.
Complacent. We have to be alert all the time.
Absolutely. We have Nora from Leeds joining us. Thank you, Nora. And she says, thanks, Mr. Mojib, for sharing your professional and personal experiences. Do you think there is a relation between immigration and crime? We are hearing a lot of hate speech come from some media against immigration and immigrants.
In Gibraltar, although there's a lot of migration, we have a process, and we deal with it. We don't have any issues as such with regards to immigration in Gibraltar, because most of the immigration is legal immigration, and so to be honest, we in Gibraltar we're not having issues with regards to hates towards immigrants. I don't know. Have you experienced any?
Well, I can say as like you, because of my knowledge of the French language, I was often used as an interpreter or to translate. And the few occasions where we had a patera landing in Gibraltar was by sheer mistake. They were heading for Spain. And as you know, the process is that they go to court, and as soon as the judge rules it, they're taken back to Morocco. So there's no question of illegal immigrants staying in Gibraltar.
No.
We have Saad Benhakim saying, a hard-working man who gives an example of good Moroccan youth. Bravo, Mr. Mojib. Thank you very much for your comments, Saad.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And Jerry Martinez Jr., excellent officer and excellent ambassador. Well done, Mojib. Thank you very much, Jerry, another RGP officer joining us.
Thank you, Jerry.
Imran from Amsterdam is joining us now and saying, Mr. Mojib, here in Amsterdam, there's a massive drug issues with young men and women. What do you advise these people who took a wrong direction, unfortunately? In other words, what would you say to someone who's experimented with drugs?
Well, drugs, they have a massive impact in just not just their lives, but the lives of their families as well. What I see daily is that, you're doing harm to your body, but you're also doing harm to your family.
All those around you, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's no way to go in life. If you have an issue, you need to talk about it and not resort to drugs. When I was in school, and I can talk about it, I was offered drugs all the time. As in Bayside School, but obviously my parents would always say, "Listen, if you take drugs, you're gonna look like this guy." And I was given a horrible picture of a person that's been, consuming drugs all their life, and Islam is against it as well. So obviously, awareness is really important. Make those kids aware. And what I also find is that as a parent, it's important that you know who your kids are going out with.
Very important, yeah.
Very important. Don't let your kids go out in the streets and you're not aware of what they're doing, because they'll be exposed to things that you don't want them to be exposed to, not just drugs, but other stuff. So my encouragement is that you would put your children in whether it's jiu-jitsu or any sort of other sports that you can fill their time with. The youth want to do something with their life. If they have nothing to do, well, they'll look at they'll start exploring.
Yeah, they'll find something else. Also, the very important to teach your children to say no. It's okay to say no. You don't have to do what other people are doing just to conform or fall into a particular group. If something is no good, you say no, and it's okay to say no.
For me, in my childhood, it hasn't affected me because I've always been a sort of practicing Muslim. So that's what prevented me from taking drugs and stuff like that. But even then, you get some practicing use of Moroccan origin that they take drugs, and the most important thing is that you talk to them and you make them aware of what their situation is, and with drugs, and how it can throw your whole life away if your interactions with the police. For example, if you get arrested, you have a record, and
especially if you have a conviction, it may affect you in wanting to have a future career.
Yeah, exactly. So think about that.
And the consequences that it could bring.
Yeah.
We have Farida from Layun, Morocco, Sahara. Welcome,
Wow.
Farida. Mr. Mojib, what's Morocco mean? I think she probably means to you. Have you even been in the capital of Morocco, Sahara, Layun? If you come, you're more than welcome. So there we have an invitation from Farida to go to Layun if you haven't already been there.
Thank you, Farida. I haven't been as far as Layun, but just further a bit north, I've been literally everywhere. But inshallah, I will come one day to Layun. I'll visit the area sometime. in the
Inshallah.
future.
We have Rola from Rabat saying, how do you solve immigration questions? No, how do you solve integration questions?
Well,
Not
the
quite
thing
sure
is,
what she means by that, but I'll
in
throw it to you.
Gibraltar is very, very inclusive society because people are accepted. If my neighbor understands who I am, they respect me for who I am, and I don't have any problems with them, I will go with them, be friends with them. If they say, "Come on, let's go and do this," we go, and then So acceptance and respect is
Mutual respect, yes, is the key
that's
word.
the solution for integration. When you have, what the problem is when you have a society that doesn't want you, doesn't accept you, and then you feel alienated in a way. You're
But
not,
that is not the case in Gibraltar, and it's never
no, that's
been.
not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not the case in Gibraltar. But in other places, I think that's what causes the issues that
And the conflict.
like the lady from Leeds was describing. Yeah.
We have retired Inspector John Caruana, who was instrumental and in charge of the training department when you joined. And he
Yeah.
says, excellent ambassador for both the Royal Gibraltar Police and the Moroccan community, and a prime example of what integration and mutual respect should be. Thank you very much for joining us, John, all the way from Gibraltar. Let me throw a
Thank you.
question at you, Mojib, on something you said. You're a practicing Muslim. What does it mean to be a practicing Muslim for those people that are joining us that are not familiar with Islam?
So obviously we have the prayers, the 5 prayers that we have to do a day. We have to give charity. We have to do Ramadan. We have to visit Mecca, and we have to believe in God. Those are the 5 pillars of Islam.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you there? For those that are listening, the visiting Mecca has to be done at least once in the lifetime. It's not every year.
It's not like mandatory. If you don't have the money for it, it's expensive, you don't have to do it. But it's not, Islam goes further than that. It's not just that. You have to live it, and by living it, I mean you have to do good with your neighbor. You have to love your neighbor. You have to help your community, like I am doing. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to help people. Because if I am doing something for the day, like Judgment Day, those all deeds are adding up. So that's a practicing Muslim is someone that truly practices their religion. They forgive, they always try to do good, try to stay away from things that are bad, and
it's the basis of every religion, whatever your creed is.
Yes.
Mojib, let me tell you, not only, we have Imad from Fez who's saying, well done, Mr. Mojib. You are an example for many Moroccans. I wanted always to be policeman, but life took me somewhere else. Is there any age limit to become a policeman in Gibraltar, for example?
When I joined the police, there was a gentleman that was 47 years of age.
Yeah, maybe I can answer that. Since the European law came into being of age, that there is no age limit. There used to be an age limit, but as you know, we had a female officer joining when she was 45, and she's only just retired after a couple of extensions at the ripe old age of 60. That's Palmina Ferrari.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is no, there is no age limit. But as long as you tick all the right boxes, you have the qualifications, you're fit, and you can do the training, physical training, and obviously go through all the requirements, then there is no age limit. Is there anything else you would like to add, Mojib?
No, that's perfectly summed it up.
Well,
there is no age limit. It's as long as you physically able, this is a job that is very tense. Takes a lot out of you, and you don't have your, you're not strong for it. It's not a job for everyone. You
You need to love the job, and then it
need to love
doesn't
the
become a
job.
job. It's a way of
Yeah,
life, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mojib, let me tell you what a pleasure and an honor it is, and it has been to have you. Not only are you a credit to the RGP, you are an example to follow. You're a credit to Islam. You're a credit to the Moroccan community. And shall I just sum it up by saying you're a credit to humanity? Thank you very much, Mojib. Um, may your days continue well. May you finish Ramadan in good health and good spirit. And inshallah, we'll catch up back in Gibraltar at some point.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you very much. Thank you all to all the audience.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It has been a real pleasure for having had you as my guest, especially me being a retired officer with the Royal Gibraltar Police. This interview has probably been one of my it will become one of my favorites, and I look forward to maybe interviewing other Muslim IGP officers in the future. Thank you very much, Mujib. Well, thank you very much for all of you that have contributed, that have joined us from all over the place, especially those that have joined us from further afield. What can I say? It's been a real pleasure. And that's me, Henry Sacramento, signing off live from the Casbah, bringing Tangier and Gibraltar's cultures closer. See you next month.